This is half past paper week 16 for foundation, and we've got all the even numbers this week, so all the Sparks codes there if you have access to Sparks, but if not, these are all the topics that we're going to be doing and how many marks there were. 38 marks on this paper, so half a past paper roughly. Let's get into it. So question number 2, write 29,381 correct to the nearest thousand. This is your thousands column here, the 9. So we're always going to check the next column. If it's 5 and above, it will round up, and if it's 4 and below, then it will round down. We've got a 3 here, so this is rounding down, so we're going to put 29,000. If it had rounded up, it would have gone to 30,000, but just 29,000 for that one. Write a quarter as a percentage. So 1 out of 4, if we want this as a percentage, we want it to be out of 100. We've multiplied the bottom by 25, so we also need to multiply the top by 25, and that will give us 25 out of 100, and therefore that is 25%. A really good one to know. Half would be 50%, and 3/4 would be 75%. Liz is watching a film at the cinema. The film started at 2:30, and the film is 105 minutes long. When the film ends, Liz takes 20 minutes to get to the bus stop, and a bus leaves the bus stop at 4:45. Does Liz get to the bus stop in time to get that bus? So if the film starts at 14:30, that is 2:30 p.m, and the film is 105 minutes long. Now I like to do these questions on like a timeline. So 105 minutes is 60 minutes, which is 1 hour, and 45 minutes. So I just want to make sure that I go on 1 hour and an extra 45. So 1 hour would get me to 15:30 or 3:30, and then another 45 minutes. Well, it's going to take me half an hour to get to 4 o'clock, and then another 15, so add 30, add 15 to get me to 16:15, and that's what time the film would end. So I've got an hour and 45 on from 2:30, and that film is going to end at 16:15 or 4:15 if you're working in 12-hour time. Then it's 20 minutes to get to the bus stop, so 20 more minutes on from that is going to get me to 16:35. So she's at the bus stop at 16:35. The bus leaves the bus stop at 16:45. Does she get there? Yes, she does. So gets to bus stop. So yes, has 10 minutes to spare. You don't need to write that, you can just write yes. As long as they can see that and that and that, then you're all good for 3 marks. Well done if you got that. Question number 8, ABC is a straight line. Work out the size of the angle marked X. So we know that angles on a straight line add up to 180, and that's going to be the reason that we're going to use here. Angles on a straight line add up to 180. And there's no shortcut. That is what you need to write. Write all of those words, please. So 180 take away 150 is 30 degrees. So 30 degrees must be our missing angle here, so that the angles on that straight line add up to 180 degrees. The diagram below is wrong. Explain why. So we know that this square shape means that that is a right angle, so that is 90 degrees. So 280 add 90 adds up to 370 degrees, and I'm going to say angles around a point add up to 360 degrees. So that's why that's wrong, okay? Angles around a point add up to 360 degrees. You need to give that reason. It's not angles in a circle, okay? A lot of students will write that. It's nothing to do with a circle. It's angles around this point. Question number 10. Solve 3m equals 36. When we solve equations, I like to put a dotted line where the equals is. And remember that what you do to one side, you're going to do to the other. So I'm going to divide both sides by 3. Dividing the left-hand side by 3 gets me m, which is what we want to happen. Always when we're solving equations, we want to get that letter on its own. So m, and then we're going to divide this side by 3 as well. And that is 12. So m equals 12. For part B, solve 7 take away x equals 3. Now, you could do this one by doing your dotted line and taking things away from both sides. The problem with that is that a lot of students would add 7 here, but the 7 is positive. So if we're going to do that, we're going to take away 7 from both sides because that's a positive 7. So minus x is minus 4. And if minus x is minus 4, then x is 4. But that all feels quite complicated, particularly when you just need to have a think, what number, if we put it there, would make sense? So if we read this again, 7 take away something equals 3. What number here makes that make sense? 7 take away 4, so x must be 4. So 4 is your answer, whichever way you did it. If you've got 4 on the answer line, that's worth 1 mark. Question number 12. Lucy uses a code to open a lock. The code is a letter followed by a 2-digit number. The letter is L or U, and the number is a prime number between 20 and 30. They absolutely love to ask you about the prime numbers between 20 and 30. Write down all the possibilities for Lucy's code. So your prime numbers are numbers that are not in any times table other than their own times table and the 1 times table. So 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17. These are all prime numbers. When we get up to 20, your prime numbers are 23 and 29. Those are the 2 prime numbers that are in the 20s. Sometimes people think 21, but that's in the 3 times table, so that's no good. 27, that's in the 3 times table. 25, that's in the 5 times table. So just 23 and 29. So what could she do? Well, she could have L23, or she could have L29, or she could have U23, or she could have U29. And those are all of the options that she can have. There's only 2 prime numbers, and we've used both of them with the L and both of them with the U. Question number 14, and we have a pie chart. The table gives information about the number of goals scored by each of 3 teams. And we've got City is 50, and we've got Rovers is 45, and United have scored 25 goals. The first thing we're going to do here is add them up. So 50, add 45, add 25. Just grab my protractor ready for this question as well. So adding all of that together, because we need to know what this is out of. What is it out of? And then we know how to share the 360 degrees of that pie chart. So that's the first thing you're going to do. Add these up. 50, add 45, add 25. That is going to be 120 degrees. And I then know that it needs to make 360 degrees. So 360 divided by 120 is 3. So each goal is worth 3 degrees. So we're then going to go back to our data and say, well, if City scored 50 goals and each of those goals is worth 3 degrees, then that would be 150 degrees of my pie chart. Rovers is 45 times 3, so that is 135. And then the next one is 25 times 3, and that adds up to 75. So that added all together makes 360. So we know we've done something right if it all adds up to 360. I'm then going to get my protractor and I'm going to turn it so that the 0 is facing up where that initial line is to begin. Okay, pop that on there, make sure it's really nice and straight and the centre is in the centre. And the first degree is, the first angle, sorry, is 150 degrees. So we're going to measure round to 150, make a little mark, and then move your protractor and draw a straight line going through that point. And that will tell you how big to make your first section. You're then going to go back and label it immediately so that you don't forget what section that was. So that was City, that first section. We're then going to get our protractor and turn it so that the end of that section that you just finished becomes the start of the new section. Put the centre in the centre and make sure that the 0 is now on the end of that last section. So 0 degrees there, and we're going round this time to 135 degrees. So measuring round, and when we get to 135, make a mark there. And then move your protractor out of the way, get your ruler, join that up again, and then just label those 2 sections. The last section should be 75 degrees. You can always check it if you would like to, and make sure those are both labelled, and that should make 360 degrees. That's question number 6. Make sure all sections are labelled, and that's that. Question number 16. An exam has 2 papers, paper 1 and paper 2. Paper 1 has 60 marks and paper 2 has 90 marks. The pass mark is 2/3 of the total number of marks. So total tells us that we need to add them together. So paper 1 is 60, paper 2 is 90, so 150 marks altogether. And to pass, you need to get 2/3 of that. So what is 2/3 of 150? Well, a fraction of an amount we're going to divide by the bottom and then take that answer And whatever we get, we're going to times it by the top. 150 divided by 3 is 50. Times that by 2 is 100. So 2/3 of 150 is 100. And that is going to be the pass mark. Now it says that Danielle gets 70% of the marks for paper 1. So on paper 1, which is out of 60, she gets 70%. What is 70% of 60? Well, to get 10%, we divide by 10. So 10% of 60 would be 6. And if I want 70%, I can just make that 7 times bigger. So multiplying that by 7 is 42. So she's got 42 marks so far. We want her to pass. So how many marks does she need to get in order to get that pass mark? So she's already got 42 marks. She needs to get 100 to pass. So 100, take away 42, and that's more on the floor. Let's borrow from next door. So that's 10 take 2 is 8, 9 take 4 is 5. She needs 58 more marks on paper 2 in order to pass. So 58 marks would be our answer. If you just wrote 58, that's absolutely fine. Question number 18. Describe fully the single transformation that maps triangle A onto triangle B. So single transformation means you can only write one of them. There are 4 transformations: rotation, reflection, enlargement, and translation. They are your 4 transformations. And if you are asked for the single transformation, it's saying pick one of those. Has it got bigger? No, it hasn't, so it's not an enlargement. Translation is when it's just moved, and we can see that the orientation has changed here, so it's not going to be translation. Reflection, no, I can't see a mirror line that would make sense for that one, so it is going to be a rotation. This shape has been turned, and I can see that it started with the longest side here and it's ended with the longest side here, so it is going to be 180 degrees. It's turned like this, so we've gone 180 degrees. So I'm going to start by saying rotation, 180 degrees. Now we need to say around which point. I don't need to say clockwise or anti-clockwise here, because 180 degrees clockwise or 180 degrees anti-clockwise would be exactly the same, so that's fine. It's actually going to be this point here. Now what you'd do in an exam is you'd put your hand up and ask for some tracing paper, ask the invigilator to bring that over. You'd then put your tracing paper over the top and you'd draw round A like that, and you'd put your pen in different points and spin the tracing paper and see if it lands on B. But we can see it's the same distance. If we went down like this and one across, and we went up like this and one left, we can see that it's the same distance. So that will land on B when we rotate it 180 degrees. So it's going to be rotation 180 degrees, centre or around the point, and that coordinate is -1, 0. It's -1 across and then 0 up or down. That's what you need for 2 marks on that one. Question number 20. Pens and pencils are sold in a shop. 12 pencils cost £1.80. The ratio of the cost of a pen to the cost of a pencil is 7:3. Work out the cost of 5 pens. So as soon as I see this ratio, I'm going to draw out those little lines that I love to draw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, ... 1, 2, 3. So we've got 10 little lines all together. Now 12 pencils equal £1.80. This is a calculator paper, so if I want to know the cost of 1 pencil, I can take that £1.80 and divide it by 12. £1.80 divided by 12 is 0.15. So a pencil costs 15p. Now this is the cost of a pen on this side, and this is the cost of a pencil. And I need the cost of a pencil to be 15p. So I know that those 3 lines there need to add up to make 15p. So I'm going to take the 15p and divide it by 3, because there are 3 little lines that we're sharing it over. So 5p, 5p, and 5p. And because this is just how ratio works, because we know those are 5p, we know that all of the lines are 5p. And therefore I can do 5p times by the 7 little lines that correspond to pen. 5 times 7 means that a pen, we know, costs 35p, adding up all the 5s on that side. So the cost of 5 pens would be to take 35, and I'm actually going to do 0.35, because I want my answer to be in pounds. 0.35 times by 5, and that is £1.75. And that would be your answer. Question number 22. And we've got set notation. So this funny squiggly E, what does that mean? Well, that means the universal set. So I need you to think of that like it's everything in the world that you know about right now. That is your universe. The numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That is your whole universe. That is everything you know about right now. If I started asking you about the number 11, you'd say, no, that's not in my universe. I don't know about that number. That's not in my universal set. So we've got A is all the even numbers. But remember, that's only even numbers from within your universal set. So we've got 2, 4, 6, 8 and 10. We wouldn't put 12 because that's not in our universal set. And then B, factors of 10. So we've got 1 and 10. Don't forget factors come in pairs. And 2 and 5. There we go. Those are all of the factors of 10, numbers that fit into 10 an exact number of times. Okay, let's go ahead and complete the Venn diagram for this question. So looking at A and B, first I'm going to think about what numbers could go in the intersection, which is that middle bit. So I've got 2, that's in A and it's in B, and I've also got 10 that's in both. So I'm going to put 2 and 10 in the middle. For A, I've got 4, 6 and 8 left over. And for B, I've got 1 and 5 left over. Now, a lot of students stop there, and that's going to lose you marks. Your universal set, this funny squiggly E, is also up here. And that box that's around the two circles needs to contain all of the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 for you to get full marks. So we know they're not in A and B, but therefore we need to put them on the outside. So I'm just going to go through 1, 2, and then 3 will go on the outside. I've got 4, I've got 5, I've got 6. 7 will need to go on the outside, 8's there, 9 will need to go on the outside, and 10 is there. And then always just do a check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, I've got everything. So I definitely know that I will get full marks for that one. Okay, fabulous. That's 3 marks. Moving on, a number is chosen at random from the universal set. So we're choosing at random from the universal set, and that has 10 numbers in it. So I know that this probability is going to be out of 10, and that's going to get you a mark just for having a fraction. As long as the top number makes sense, that bottom number being out of 10 is going to get you a mark. Find the probability that this number is in the set A intersection B. So you've got 2 things that they normally ask you. Either this, which is the intersection, which is asking you what's the probability of it being in that bit there, or sometimes they'll ask you the union, which is when it's that way up, and that means what's the probability of it being in either A or B. So then it can be across either of them, okay? So in this case, we want to know what's the probability of it being in that intersection, and there are 2 numbers in that intersection out of the 10 possible numbers, so 2 out of 10. Sometimes people simplify it. I would say don't bother. With probability, you never need to simplify it, and also if we simplify it and we were wrong, we might lose that 10, so we want to definitely make sure we've got a mark for that and a mark for that, so I'm happy to leave it as 2 over 10. If you did put it as 1 over 5, you'd still get full marks, but if you were incorrect in your simplification or they couldn't see the 2 out of 10, you might risk losing both, so I would just leave it like that. If this had been the question, what's the probability of it being in the union, which is either A or B, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 numbers in the union, so then it would have been 7 out of 10. So that would have been the answer if that had been the question, but in this case we had the intersection, so 2 over 10. Okay, question number 4. Complete the table of values for y equals 5 minus x cubed. Now there's a few different ways you can do this. This is a calculator paper, so you can use your calculator, and there's a table function, and I will do a separate video on that. Personally though, this could come up on the non-calculator paper, so it's a really good idea to know how to do it non-calculator as well. So for non-calculator, we need to think about substituting this value of x into the formula for each of the values of x. So I'm going to start by doing 5 minus 2 cubed. And minus 2 cubed means minus 2 times minus 2 times minus 2. Minus 2 times minus 2 is 4, times that by minus 2 is minus 8. So we're doing 5 minus minus 8, and that becomes an add. So this one is 13. Then I'm doing for 0, 5 minus 0 cubed. 0 cubed is 0 times 0 times 0, so 5 take away 0 is just 5. Then for 1, I'm doing 5 take away 1 cubed. 1 cubed is 1 times 1 times 1, so 5 take away 1 is 4. And then last but not least, I've got the 2, so I'm going to do 5 take away 2 cubed. 2 cubed is 8, and 5 take away 8 is minus 3. So now I've just got coordinates that we need to plot there's one coordinate, there's another coordinate, and so on. So I'm going to do minus 2, 13, which is here, minus 1, 6, which is here, 0, 5, which is here, 1, 4, which is here, and 2, minus 3, which is down here. And then we're going to join that up with a nice smooth curve. There we go. There's my cubic. So it's a negative cubic. You've got that x cubed, which makes that kind of wiggle shape. And because the x cubed is negative, that's why it's coming downwards rather than going upwards. There we go. That's it. 4 marks for that one. Question number 6. A equals 3, 4, and B equals 5 minus 2. Find 2A minus 3B as a column vector. Okay, so both of these are vectors, and vectors are instructions. The top number tells you how much to go left or right, and the bottom number tells you how much to go up or down. So for example, the vector 3, 4 means 3 right, and then 4 up. The top number is left and right, positive being right, negative being left, and the bottom number is positive for up and negative for down. In this case though, they just want us to combine them. So we've got to do 2 lots of this instruction, take away 3 lots of this instruction. Now these are not fractions, so normally I'd say, right, hang on, if we're subtracting fractions we're making the denominators the same, but these are not fractions. You can treat them completely differently. They're not fractions, okay? So we've got 2 lots of this. First I'm just going to change that to 6, 8. I've doubled the 3 and doubled the 4, and then I'm taking away 3 lots of that one, so that's 15 minus 6. Now, we can just do 6 take away 15, which gets me minus 9. And then I can just do 8 take away minus 6. Now remember that minus minus is going to become a plus. So 8 add 6 is 14. And there we go. Minus 9, 14 is our answer for 2 marks. And last but not least, question number 28. Each exterior angle of a regular polygon is 15 degrees. Work out the number of sides of the polygon. So you've got this shape and it's like this. We don't know how many sides it's got, but I know that this would be the interior angle, and then the exterior angle is the angle that is made on the outside if you were to carry on and make a straight line. So we don't know how many sides this has got, but we know that the exterior angle, the bit that you would get on the outside if you were going to walk around the outside of the shape, is 15 degrees. Now, because if we were going to walk around the whole outside of this shape, we would always get back to where we started. We know the exterior angles always add together to make 360 degrees, no matter how many sides it has. If you walk around the outside of a shape, you'll always get back to the beginning, and so the exterior angles always make 360 degrees. So if we want to know how many sides this has got, all we need to do is see how many 15 degrees would be needed to make 360 degrees. And to do that, I'm going to divide. So 360 divided by 15, 360 divided by 15 is 24. So this is a 24-sided shape. There we go. That's 38 marks on this paper. I hope you found it helpful. Let me know in the comments if you've got any questions. I would be happy to help. And I will see you guys next week for week 17.